Good afternoon, everyone. A warm welcome to the House of European Football here in Lyon for the 2025-26 UEFA Champions League round of 16 draw. We're rapidly approaching the business end of the season, and today we're going to map out the route all the way to the final with every single one of the remaining teams dreaming of European glory and the chance to lift that beautiful trophy. While 8 clubs were already safely through to this stage, following the league phase, 8 more qualified via the playoffs, of course, with plenty of twists and turns, spectacular goals and thrilling finales. Now that we have our breath back following this week's electric action, let's see which teams have secured their spots in the last 16. All right, exciting stuff. Those are the teams who still harbor hopes of making it to Budapest on the 30th of May. The question is, what is their path until the final? We're about to find out, but first we need the man who is going to conduct proceedings. That is, of course, UEFA Deputy General Secretary Giorgio Marchetti. Welcome, Giorgio.
Thank you, Pedro.
Great to see you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is hard for all of us to believe that we are already looking ahead to the decisive stages of the 2025-26 UEFA Champions League with so much drama packed into just a few short months. That excitement continued as 8 playoff ties concluded this week, providing no fewer than 64 goals as teams battled to secure their place in the round of 16. Bodo Glimt's incredible adventure continues, eliminating last season's finalist Inter to become the first Norwegian team to win a UEFA Champions League knockout tie. But Atalanta's last-minute comeback against Dortmund ensures that Italy at least is represented in the round of 16 for a 23rd consecutive season. Such emotions promise to make the journey ahead in the coming months even bumpier, with 29 matches to go before we crown this season's champions in beautiful Budapest on the 30th of May. On behalf of UEFA, good luck to all the 16 remaining clubs waiting to discover their pathway to the final. plan step by step, but dream big, as the iconic trophy with the years is already in sight at the end of the line. And now, to help us paint that picture, we have a legend who knows exactly how it feels to go all the way in the UEFA Champions League.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Ivan Rakitic. Welcome, Ivan.
Hi, Ivan. Welcome.
Fantastic to have you here. Before you get to work with Giorgio, I have a couple of questions for you. You're reunited with the trophy, right? When you have a look at this beautiful piece of silverware, what memories come to mind?
It's amazing. It's amazing. I think just to see it again there, I want to be there to fight for the trophy again. So it's really, I feel really happy, really proud of it. It was amazing, all this fight we had on the pitch, and to see it again there. So wishing really to everybody good luck, and the best emotion is to get it in your hands.
You know, you haven't retired that long ago, and you're still in amazing shape. I'm sure you could get out there if you wanted to, but you didn't get a chance to play in the new format, right? So how have you followed that? What do you think it brings to European competition?
I really, first of all, want to congratulate, because it's really amazing. I think all this emotion we can feel also between the players. It's really amazing. I think also the last games we had was, you just were in front of the TV and enjoying. This is unbelievable, and I think it's a winning part for all of us now as a fan, enjoying a lot, and really it's really amazing, and congratulate again.
It's great to have you here today, but of course you know UEFA headquarters quite well because you come here a few times. You're an ambassador for the UEFA Foundation for Children, helping out there. How important is it for you to give back? And tell me about some of the work that you would like to develop and evolve alongside with the UEFA Foundation and the UEFA President as well.
Now, first of all, it's really amazing to be part of this family. I'm also father of two amazing two daughters. I know how important it is to see the kids happy, to enjoy, and even if we now can do something to see these kids happy, to enjoy, I know that Tanya and Karin, they are doing an amazing job, and hopefully in the future to travel with them, just to see these kids happy. This is the best part. Hopefully I will have the opportunity to play football with them, to enjoy together, and this is really just amazing. I'm so proud to be part of this family.
Yeah, great work from the foundation around the world, and you're a great signing for them as well, Ivan. We're nearly ready to commence the draw, but before we do, a couple of important notes to pass along. The calendar for the round of 16 matches will be available later tonight, with a quarterfinals match scheduled to be communicated in principle later on the 19th of March after the completion of the round of 16. The semi-final schedule will be confirmed on April 16th, following the quarterfinal second leg. So that's it as far as the calendar is concerned. Before handing over to Giorgio and Ivan, here's a little video explaining how today's draw will work.
The fixtures for the round of 16 and onwards are determined using a seeded bracket system that already started at the knockout phase playoff round. In the round of 16 draw, the teams finishing the league phase in positions 1 to 8 who qualified directly to this round will be drawn into the bracket against the winners of the knockout phase playoff matches. The draw will be conducted in accordance with the following principles. The teams directly qualified to the round of 16 are seeded and are paired according to their league phase rankings. So the teams in positions 1 and 2 are paired. Teams in positions 3 is allocated to the reserved spot on the silver side of the bracket. The other ball is then drawn, and that team is allocated in the corresponding reserved spot on the blue side. The same procedure is carried out with the remaining teams to complete the pairings for the round of 16. From the quarter-finals through to the final, the ties as well as the order of the matches is determined also by the bracket. Therefore, having been positioned in the bracket by the draw of the knockout phase playoff and round of 16, the teams qualifying from the round of 16 follow the path of the bracket until the final, and, as in the previous rounds for the quarter-finals and semi-finals, the teams indicated, i.e. those in the bottom row of each match pairing, will play the second leg of the relevant tie at home. The finalist on the silver side of the bracket is designated as the nominal home team for the final. After the draw, if it becomes apparent that any ties are affected by city or stadium clashes, these clashes will be resolved in accordance with the principles set by the Club Competitions Committee for city and stadium clashes. The round of 16 match schedule will be available tonight.
So that was the explanation, and in front of me you now can see the balls containing the pairs of seeded teams as mentioned in the video. The first team drawn from each pair will join the silver part of the bracket to the left, while the second will be paired with the opponent waiting in the blue section on the right. And now that everything is almost ready, before we begin, a final reminder of the clubs which are going to be drawn. Obviously, there are pairs, and the first pair is in position 1 and 2, Arsenal and Bayern. Then we have Liverpool and Tottenham Hotspur. We continue with FC Barcelona and Chelsea, and we finish with Sporting Club and Manchester City. Ivan, everything has been said, everything is ready. Now it's your turn. Please start with the ball of position 7 and 8, a shuffle, and first team drawn to join the silver side. We're going to draw now Sporting and Manchester City, so don't worry. Take your time.
The cream.
The cream on the hands.
Yeah.
If you want help, I'm here. So, here we go. Don't worry, it will be easy.
Manchester City.
So Manchester City is going to join Real Madrid on the silver side for what has become now a European Classico. 8 previous ties, including in the league phase of this season. And that's the first great challenge that we're going to have in this round of 16. Now you draw, please, the second team of this pair, which is
Sporting Club.
Which is, of course, Sporting Club de Portugal, and Sporting Club de Portugal will visit the great outsider of the season, Bodo Glimt. Never these two teams have played in a European competition, so it's a premiere. With this first two ties already drawn, now we can continue, and we draw now positions 5 and 6, which were taken in the league phase by FC Barcelona and Chelsea FC. And the first team is joining, of course, the silver part.
Chelsea.
So, Paris Saint-Germain versus Chelsea in this side of the bracket. They played 4 times in the past, but the last time in the Champions League was round of 16, 15, 16. So we are ready to see also the second name, and this time it is
FC Barcelona.
FC Barcelona, that you know very well, Ivan. 3 previous ties with Newcastle for Barcelona, 5-time winners, and the winners of 14 UEFA titles between Champions League, Super Cup, and Cup Winners' Cup. Now we've done 50% of the draw. I kindly ask you to come to this side, because now we go with the positions 3 and 4, Liverpool or Tottenham Hotspur.
Liverpool.
So the first one is Liverpool, and this means that Liverpool will have to face the opposition of Galatasaray. They met already this season, and for Liverpool it was tough in Istanbul. Now let's see what will happen in this tie in the round of 16. The second name of an English pair is going now to the blue side.
Tottenham Hotspur.
And this is Tottenham Hotspur against Atletico Madrid. These two teams faced themselves only once in history, and that was the Cup Winners' Cup of 1963. So it's an interesting remake of a very old final. And with Atletico Tottenham, now we are ready to learn the last two pairings, and we have to draw the two best teams of the league phase, which were Arsenal and Bayern.
Bayern Munich.
So Bayern goes to the silver, and in the silver they will face Atalanta. They never faced in the past. So for Bayern, which are in their 18th successive season in knockout, it will be a clash with Atalanta. Only one to go.
Arsenal.
And Arsenal finally, same ties as last year. Sorry, as we had in 2001 and 2002 for Arsenal playing against Leverkusen. So this concludes our draw, and now that the bracket is composed, all the potential fixtures are known. Let me just remind you that the teams qualifying from the round of 16 follow this path all the way until the final, and of course, as we know, the team in the bottom row of each pairing will play the second leg at home. With this, all has been done and said. Pedro, the floor is back to you.
Yeah, gentlemen, well done. Let's have a look at the lineup, shall we? It's a star-studded lineup. You wouldn't expect anything else from the world's top club competition. Paris St-Germain taking on Chelsea, Galatasaray facing Liverpool. It's Real Madrid versus Manchester City, and Atalanta facing Bayern Munich. That's on one side of the bracket, the silver side. On the blue side, we've got Newcastle taking on Barcelona, Atleti battling Tottenham, Bodo Glimt taking on Sporting, and Bayer Leverkusen facing Arsenal. As Giorgio mentioned, we now have really the full picture now all the way to the final in Budapest, so we're looking forward to that. Before we sign off, it's time to mark your calendars, of course. The round of 16 first legs to be played on the 10th and 11th of March, with the return leg scheduled 1 week later on the 17th and 18th of March. That'll do it from all of us here at the House of European Football. Fantastic to have Ivan here. Well done as always, Giorgio. It's a special day because it's the last draw of the UEFA Champions League season, also because it's Giorgio's birthday. So I'm sorry to embarrass you, but I think he deserves a round of applause. I think it's 49, right? Right, Giorgio?
Yes.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Fantastic to see everyone here in Lyon today. Enjoy the rest of the season. See you again soon.
let's get straight to the draw, because Giorgio Marchetti is already unleashing the balls, and the first name out of the hat is Manchester City.
City is going to join Real Madrid on the silver side for what has become now a European Classico. 8 previous ties, including in the league phase of this season, and that's the first great challenge that we're going to have in this round of 16. Now you draw, please, the second team of the of this pair, which is
Sporting Club.
Which is, of course, Sporting Club de Portugal, and Sporting Club de Portugal will visit the great outsider.
So Manchester City play against Real Madrid, Gabby, and Bodo Glimt gets Sporting. Is that a good draw for Manchester City?
Out of all the teams they could have faced in the Champions League, we talk about the English teams, and we talk about PSG and Bayern Munich. I'll say definitely Real Madrid, the way they defended against Benfica.
Okay, next one's coming out of the hat. And who is it?
And the first team is joining, of course, the silver part.
Chelsea.
So, Paris Saint-Germain versus Chelsea.
Chelsea versus PSG.
In this side of the bracket.
Chelsea 28 goals in 11 matches under Liam Rossini, not lost to anyone that isn't Arsenal. PSG limp past Monaco. They'll be encouraged if they face them. Look easy to score against. Next one's coming out.
And this time it is
FC Barcelona.
FC Barcelona against Newcastle United. So that is confirmed that Barcelona will play Newcastle United. The first leg will be at St James's Park. They're having an odd campaign, Barcelona, where they lurch between dominant and disappointing matches. Newcastle, very good at home. Had a good match earlier in the season, didn't they? Which Barcelona won. So we move to the second part of the draw now, and Arsenal and Liverpool about to find out their fates as well.
Liverpool.
So the first one is Liverpool, and this means that Liverpool will have to face the opposition of Galatasaray. They met already this season, and for Liverpool it was tough in Istanbul. Now let's see what will happen in this tie in the round of 16. The second.
So the winner of Galatasaray against Liverpool faces the winner of PSG versus Chelsea in the quarter-finals.
Hotspur against Atletico Madrid. These two teams faced themselves only once in history, and that was the Cup Winners' Cup of.
And the winners of Atletico Madrid against Tottenham Hotspur is Newcastle or Barcelona in the quarterfinals of the competition. Atleti, who have been fantastic at times and not so good at times under Diego Simeone.
The two best teams of the league phase, which were Arsenal and Bayern.
Bayern Munich.
So Bayern goes to the silver, and in the silver they will face Atalanta. They never faced in the past. So for Bayern, which are in their 18th successive season in knockout, it will be a clash with Atalanta. Only one to go.
Also means that the winners of that tie play the winners of Real Madrid against Manchester City in the quarterfinals.
Arsenal.
And Arsenal, finally, same ties as last year. Sorry, as we had in 2001 and 2002 for Arsenal playing against Leverkusen. So this concludes our draw.
Well,
and,
that's a fantastic draw for Arsenal, really, to be in that part of the draw as well. Because not only have they got Leverkusen, they then play the winners of Sporting and Bodo Glimt. So they've got a great run. In fact, it could be that you could get a North London derby in the semi-finals of the competition if everything goes to plan. But their potential opponents in the quarterfinals, should they beat Leverkusen, Arsenal, would end up being Bodo Glimt or Sporting. And then they would face the winners of the quarterfinal, which is between Newcastle, Barcelona or Atletico Madrid against Tottenham. So the draw in full then, Paris Saint-Germain against Chelsea, Galatasaray against Liverpool. The winners of those two ties will play each other in the quarterfinals of the competition. Real Madrid will take on Manchester City, and Atalanta will play Bayern Munich. The winners of those two ties will meet in the quarterfinals. So we could have and Manchester City Bayern Munich, reunification with Vincent Kompany in the quarterfinals of the competition, or we could have Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, some of the most prolific champions in Champions League history, meeting at the quarterfinal stage. Newcastle and Barcelona is the next fixture that came out of the hat. They will face the winners of Atletico Madrid and Tottenham Hotspur in the quarterfinals, and then Bodo Glimt Sporting and Leverkusen Arsenal completes the draw. Well, certainly Arsenal have come out more favourably than anybody else.
Incredible.
That's incredible. I mean, they've got to at least get to the semi-finals for me, if not the final itself. It couldn't have gone any better from a Gunners perspective. But I'm looking at two of the other English teams. Manchester City basically are going to need to beat Real Madrid and Bayern Munich to get to their own semi-final. And Newcastle, if they come through against Barcelona, will probably have to put out Atletico Madrid as well. So as good as it is for Arsenal, I wouldn't want to be Manchester City or Newcastle.
Well, I think it's absolutely superb, isn't it, that we've avoided any all-English ties in the last 16, but we've got a few that could come up in the quarterfinals, because if Chelsea beat Paris Saint-Germain and Galatasaray are beaten by Liverpool, we have a quarter-final between Liverpool and Chelsea, and that has history from the 2000s.
And just the way Arsenal got, sorry to go back to Arsenal, but to get Leverkusen, who haven't had the best of seasons, and then if you beat them, you get Sporting or Bodo Glimt. Then, if you beat them, you get Barca or Newcastle or Spurs, Atletico. No offence, but any of those four teams, I think Arsenal beat over 2 legs. So you'd put money on Arsenal definitely getting to the final. Tough game for Chelsea, PSG. Well, not for you, Sam. You think PSG, Chelsea would go through against them? Do you think
I think Chelsea will beat PSG.
Over 2 legs, yeah? Okay, Liverpool, Galatasaray. I fancy Liverpool to go through that tie comfortably. And then Manchester City, like Crookie says.
I do think that's one of the toughest ties, though, Chelsea-PSG. That's difficult to call. Like Real Madrid, Manchester City is. I think Manchester City will win that, if I'm completely...
I wonder how City fans will feel about this, because they've played Real Madrid an awful lot, haven't they, in recent seasons. It's just familiarity breed contempt when it comes to those two clubs.
I do think that happens, sometimes when you have those big matchups that happen such a lot, there's a little bit of psychological damage that has been left by
Courtois said it, didn't he, after the game? We will get Manchester City on Friday. We know it already.
And there it is.
And there it is on paper. And then they will play the winners of Atalanta against Bayern Munich. Your old mate Ivan Juric was in charge of Atalanta for the first few weeks of the season. He got fired after 11 games.
I can't believe that, did he?
And they brought in Raffaele Balladino, and things have changed dramatically. They were 2-0 down from the first leg of their game against Borussia Dortmund, and they won that match and have qualified to play Bayern Munich in the next round of the competition. Bayern came through a very strong set of fixtures, actually, in the league phase. Mentioned it a little bit earlier. They only lost once, and that was at Arsenal. Davis and Musiala have been out long term, but they do have Harry Kane. Defence is good against the weaker teams, but when posed with real class, they do give up a lot of chances.
Am I right in thinking also, because Arsenal won the league phase, they're going to get the home leg at home every round?
Yeah, they get the home leg all the way to the semi-final.
So they're in the best half of the draw, and they're at home in the second leg all the way.
Yeah.
There's no excuses, is there? For me.
And listen, they'll probably end up with a trip to Lisbon or a trip to Norway should they get past Leverkusen. Listen, there's no guarantees that they get past Leverkusen, but they'll be big favourites for that.
Oh, massive favourites. I mean, Leverkusen, like we says, haven't been at their best this season, especially since Alonso left last season. Bodo Glimt, it wouldn't surprise me if they get through against Sporting. You know, what they've done in the Champions League this season. Imagine that, quarter-final, Arsenal versus Bodo Glimt. Do you know what I mean? And now with the odds short on Arsenal.
Arsenal have been there before.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arsenal actually went up there and won in the Europa League not so long ago, to be honest.
Conor Gallagher as well, going back to Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, really enjoy that.
Yep.
Yeah, and Newcastle against Barcelona. What a tie that is. It's got echoes of Sir Bobby Robson.
Tino Asprilla.
Obviously, they played each other once already this season. That didn't go Newcastle's way, but there were signs in that game, weren't there, that they could compete. Anthony Gordon got a late goal in that match. There was only 2 moments of Rashford brilliance, actually.
And do you know what? Do you know what Newcastle need to do? What they've been doing recently with Gordon, with Barnes, with Alanga, with Willock, with Ramsey. Quick players, runners in behind, because there's one team that you want to have quick players against is Barcelona, and they will get so many chances against this Barcelona defence. They are woeful.
First leg's at home, isn't it? You probably fancy they need a 2-goal advantage to take to the Camp Nou.
And you know what? Previous seasons, Crooked, I'd say that, but it's Barcelona side, like Sam says, they can be absolutely unbelievable or so poor. I watched the game against Atletico Madrid. Honestly, mate, it was 7 or 8 times in the first half, running through 1v1.
One of the things that really helps Newcastle here, and listen, they're not the best counter-attacking team, even though they are a counter-attacking team, actually, is that Barcelona play with this ridiculously high line, which teams with raw speed can expose.
Sam, it's crazy. It's literally like just stay in your own half and just make the run. Do you know what I mean? Make sure you're onside. If you're talking to Elanga, if you're talking to Gordon...
And he's not going to give that up, Hansi Flick. He is a system coach. He's like, I'm wedded to this.
If you're Eddie Howe, you're saying, listen, guys, do not be offside. Give yourself 5 yards if you have to. You're that quick, Gordon. You're that quick, Elanga. You're going to get in behind, then make the right pass. So is this a sort of game where you don't play Voltemada and you just play your quick players?
Yeah, you play Murphy, you play Barnes, and you play Gordon, or you play Elanga instead of Murphy. But I would go Murphy, Gordon, Barnes every day of the week.
100%. So Newcastle will respect Barcelona, but I don't think they'll be afraid.
Get your reaction to the draw. 03717 2233 44. Arsenal fans, have you got the best possible outcome that you could have envisaged this morning? Manchester City fans, what do you feel about going and playing Real Madrid again? Liverpool fans, off to Turkey for the game against Galatasaray. I want to hear from you. 03717 2233 44. And Spurs fans, no one's really giving you a chance. What was it the Crookmeister said earlier on? We've got 6 teams in the Champions League, and Tottenham, they take on Atletico Madrid, who wildly fluctuate between looking like the best team that Simeone has ever constructed and the worst. They do have Julian Alvarez, a real danger, even though he's advancing in years. Antoine Griezmann is playing well as well. 03717 2233 44. What are you laughing at?
Nothing. Move on.
A new word that you use, sir.
Did I not say fluctuate properly?
No, you missed the letter. Yeah. I was thinking, that's not like you, Sam.
Did I? I apologise for that. It's only
Shocking.
a slight infraction. But of course, Crookmeister would pick it up, wouldn't he? You know, because he's got his ear to the ground on absolutely everything. Arsenal fans, is there no excuses for not getting to the final? 03717 2233 44 81089 on the text. We'd love to hear from you. Who wins it now then, Crook?
Arsenal.
Who wins it now, Gabby?
Arsenal.
English arrogance.
I'm about to faint. I can't believe I said it.
Do you agree with the boys' predictions? 03717 2233 44. I don't think it's a bad draw for either of these English giants. Manchester City have got Real Madrid. I think they'll come through that. I think they'll probably be okay against Bayern Munich as well. But they'll have to make sure that they defend as well as they have been ever since Gay and Diaz have come together. And Nico O'Reilly just adding a little bit of extra legs in midfield alongside Rodri has certainly helped as well.
Let's go and speak to Tim, who's a Forest fan. All right, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Jason. How you doing?
All right, Tim. I'm good. I'm good, bud. How are you? What's going on in your world? What's happening?
Well, I'm very well. Feeling kind of mixed emotions about Forest not performing brilliantly tonight, but managing to get through to the last 16.
Yes, a bit worried, were you, at 2-0 down, I bet?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
What'd you phoned up for?
Phoned up, first time caller, and reason for phoning was listening to that bloke talking absolute tosh about English players in teams that are successful in the Premier League.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Looking at Arsenal's current team, looks like they're going to win the league with a core of Spanish goalkeeper, French and Brazilian centre backs, Spanish centre mid in Zubimendi, and then you've got Jesus, Havertz, and Gyökeres up front, who none of them are English either.
I don't get that argument as well. I mean, it's basically we are a nation, certainly at the Premier League, where we have foreign owners, we have foreign managers, we have foreign players. It doesn't bother me one little bit. But to say that you want a team to win the Premier League because they have a certain amount of English players, I think is tosh as well.
Well, I can understand if you support that club. If you support that club, we all want to see.
He's a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, but so if he's a Liverpool fan, right, you want to see people like Robbie Fowler, Steven Gerrard.
We all do.
So Chelsea do. They want to see Frank Lampard. You want to relate to someone who's come through the ranks. And it's a shame that, I know it's turned out differently. Who's the midfield player that Chelsea had to sell in the summer?
Conor Gallagher.
Yeah.
English.
They had to sell him because of these
I don't know
financial fair play rules. And the fans were devastated when he left, by the way. So I can understand.
Yeah, I mean, we've got one of our own, Ryan Yates, centre midfield, and it's brilliant seeing how he's come through this system.
Yeah, and you've got Anderson, you've got Gibbs White, you've got Williams, Welsh.
Yeah,
fullback.
Got to throw the Welsh in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Forest have got a few British players, English, British.
Why are you throwing the Welsh in? No one cares.
Well, he's a good player, isn't he? He's one of their best players, isn't he?
He's good. Yes.
We've also done really well with our Brazilian and South American.
You support Liverpool, right? But then to say, because Arsenal, they've got the most English players, you would love to see them lift the league. It doesn't even make sense. I would love to see English manager lift the league. I want to see someone, because according to record, no English managers won the league. British managers won it. Alex Ferguson is won it. But not one single English manager has won the league. I want to see that. So I would love to see somebody like Carrick lift the league. Just so they can break that curse. But there's been a lot of English players that's won the league. So just because your club, your favorite player at your club at Liverpool has never won the league with Steven Gerrard, and now you're crying, you're talking for Arsenal to win the league because they have the most English players. I don't know about that, brother. I don't know. I'm not done with that one. They can win it based off of football only. Let them win it. And we don't want them to win it based off football. We don't want them to win it not because they have English players. We don't want Arsenal to win the league because of the banter we get out of it, because of the joy we get out of it, right? That's the whole thing. But then when you twist, trying to flip the narrative because they have English players who are born in England, right, to win the league because of that, are you asking the league to hand them over the league? They might as well just give them the league if that's what it comes down to. That Arsenal, you don't need to play, but just because you've got most English players, you can just win the Premier League. That's a ridiculous argument. That is sad. That's a sad argument, man. For you to think like that, that's a weak mentality. If English players couldn't win the league, which we've had plenty, hundreds of English players who have won the league, right? Because they were the strongest. They were playing amongst the strongest team. So if Arsenal are currently playing among and around the strongest, the English player in Arsenal team, they've got the best players right now around them. Let them win it. It shouldn't be because you're English, because you're white or black English. That's why you have to win the league. That's why you want them to win the league. It doesn't even make sense, brother. Right? Just say you vote for reform then, if you want to bring politics into it, because that's what it sounds like. It's politics. You're trying to bring that into the league. Who do you want to see win the league? Oh, I want to see the team with the most English players to win the league. You sound like Jim Ratcliffe, brother, from Liverpool. You sound like a B-Tech Jim Ratcliffe from Liverpool. You know what I mean? Because how do you even explain that? We want the banter. If they win it, yeah, we take it from them. We take the banter from them. If they lose, we give it because they're Arsenal, not because they're English players, not because they're white or black players. What is wrong with people, man? You got some weak people. Oh, because I'm English, I'm working this job, I should be promoted. We might as well apply that logic on everything. I should get the first slice, even though maybe you don't deserve to win it. But because if Arsenal, if Arsenal lost 2, 3, 4 games now, do you still want to see Arsenal win it just because they're English or white or black? Liverpool fans are weird, man. I thought Arsenal fans are weird, but we all want to see the best team win it. As much as we don't want Arsenal to win it, but if they are the best team in the league, yes, they should win it. You know, but not because of their ethnicity, because of their nationality, because of their race, because of their background. That's not what I want to see Arsenal win. I want to see them winning based off of talent only on the pitch and how they conduct themselves. And I guess if you ask Mikel Arteta, that is the same answer he's going to give you. My squad is talented. We've got the best squad. That's why we won the league. Not because of their background, their culture, their ethnicity. Liverpool fans are weird, man. That's a weird call, that. Oh my goodness.
American contingent, with Murillo at the back.
Yeah, Murillo's good.
Jesus has been doing a difficult job up front for us, but yeah.
All right, bud. Listen, appreciate the call. Well done. Congratulations, Slate.
Cheers, Dino.
Cheers. Doesn't matter where you're from, Jess. It doesn't matter where you're from. When you pull the shirt on,
of course,
are you trying?
Yeah, of course.
With all your heart.
That's it. That's all you want. That's all you want, Dino.
That's all you want.
Dino'd you off.
When I was managing as well, I wouldn't care where you were from. Are you going to make the team better?
That's all you're worried about, mate. Let's go. Should we go and speak to, who is that there? Abdi. Let's go and speak to Abdi. All right, Abdi? He's Gooner. Abdi?
Hi, Abdi.
You all right, boys? How's it going?
All right, Abdi. Yes, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, boys. But how's it going tonight?
Yeah, we're okay. You Gooner's going to win it, aren't you?
Mate, boys, so what? I want to use this platform to quickly give a message out to the people that are listening to you and to yourselves, boys, because you know what? I've got to play my part in this revolution. So Arsenal, I believe this season is going to bring something to you all that you've never seen. Forget yourselves, but your forefathers ain't seen.
What do you mean? What are you on about, Abdi?
This is exactly what I mean. This is why we don't want to see Arsenal win it. Listen to Abdi, the way he's talking there on this call. The way Abdi is shouting there. Arsenal are going to bring something that your forefathers, your generation has never seen before. He's equally predicting Arsenal are going to win everything this season. Abdi, come on. This is why we don't want to see Arsenal win the league or win anything. Not because they're English or British or from a different country. We just want to see them win it. We don't want to see it.
What are you on about?
We're bringing something to you, like entertainment to your flat screens. If you're in the pitch watching the games, if you're international, you're watching it from an international country. We're bringing to you something called a quadruple, something that the Premier League has never seen.
What have we never seen? Come on, here we go. This is why. You are exactly the caller I wanted to show off how unbearable Gooners can be. Keep going.
No, because you know what? I've seen a lot of people that don't want to emphasise their confidence and share their confidence with others. You've got to be honest. Arsenal right now are the best team in the world.
If there was a one-off game now with Real Madrid and Arsenal, or Bayern Munich and Arsenal, I'd back Arsenal to beat anyone.
Yeah, but you got to prove it. You can't just phone up and say, right now. Yeah, but this is the problem. Once you've done it, then you can say it.
Well,
right?
That's the point. That's the whole point. I'm going to bring a revolution to you. I'm going to bring something you've never seen.
Oh, here we go. What are you going to do? I'll tell you something you've never seen. You've never seen a Champions League.
Well, that's the whole point.
So you're going to win it, are you?
You're not expecting it.
Yeah, go on. Keep going.
You're not expecting it.
What are you about?
You're not expecting nothing from me right now because obviously you're.
We haven't won nothing right now.
That's it. But right now, I am the best team to win it.
Sorry, have you got the telly on in the background? What's going on, Abdi?
Let me turn it off.
Have some respect, Abdi.
He's in Arteta's office.
What?
Abdi has lost it. He's lost his marbles. Abdi has lost it. He's predicting Arsenal are going to win everything. Right? This is why we can't afford to let Arsenal win anything. Arsenal fans are so annoying, man. They're so annoying. They'll drive you off of platform by just if they win everything.
Just a handshake of yes, we are
Hamstring from last week.
Hamstrings. What are you watching there? Abdi.
Teddy was on for the little one. But go on anyway.
What were you watching?
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Hamstrings and whatnot going on here. Well, continue.
Yeah, go on. You carry on in your rant.
So I'm saying right now, that there's no team right now. Forget about the international side of things. Let's talk about Britain right now. Let's talk about the Premier League. Right now, I'm about to break records in the sense of I don't care about the most goals scores. Look, I said this from the beginning of the season, 38 goals, I would win the league, with 38 of them being all penalties. I don't care how the game looks. The competition's competition, mate. I'm here to lift cups, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah? No one's going to disagree with that.
All right, so what do you want to say?
I just want the people like you who shout your mouth off when you haven't won a Premier League in 22 years. You've never won the Champions League. You're going to win the quadruple.
I've got the best team to back it.
You know, the best team doesn't always win it.
Right now talking, I've got Bukayo Saka. Yeah, I've got Saka, who's the world-class player right now in my team. I've got Odegaard, captain genius. I've got Saliba. I've got defence centre. I've got the best centre-backs.
Are you on about Football Manager?
I've got the best centre-backs in the world, mate.
But you do realise that if Man City win all their games, they can win the title.
That's them. They can.
I'm just saying. I know you can as well if you win all games. I'm just saying that Man City have got themselves where it's in their own hands. I know you do too, but, you know.
Look, you could talk for Man City if you want to. If you're a Man City fan, I don't know.
I'm not a Man City fan. I just don't want Arsenal to win it.
You could talk for them. But right now, I'm telling you right now, the odds are on my end right now, and I'm going to speak the most about it, and I'm going to say it. I'm going to stand on the tallest building and shout it off right now.
See, that's what
Have you got total faith in your manager?
I've got enough to back it. I've got enough to grab it, yes.
Do you think, I think the only dilemma he's got is when to take the handbrake off and go after teams and just say, we're going to score more than you? Because he has got a sort of, he does sometimes just sit back and think, go on, come at us and we'll break on you. So it's tactics for Arteta now, all the way in. He's got the best players.
I reckon Arteta's going to sit back now and let the team do their thing.
Okay. You've got my mob at the weekend, Abdi. Chelsea boys. Yeah, the club world. Have some respect for the Club World Champions, right? Before you stop renting.
Look, I'll tell Chelsea right now, try to get the top four. That's all you need to worry about. But right now, we're coming to destroy your 3 points. We're taking that off you, look. Those 3 points are with us. And the bloke that spoke earlier on, the Arsenal fan, we'll do it with 1-0. And we will do it at 8-9 minutes. We don't care how dirty it is. We're here to play a dirty game. It's competition, mate.
Abdi?
By the way,
Abdi?
He's gone, has he?
Yeah, he's still there. Abdi, phone the sports bar on Monday night. Make sure you do all right.
Hey, I'll call you Monday night, and I'll call you exactly on the last minute of the Premier League when we lift it. And on top of that, I'll call you right after the quadruple. And what are you going to say to me then?
Well, I'll be saying if you win it, well done. If you don't win it, what are you going to say?
I don't need a well done.
What are you going to say?
So much stress right
What are you going to say if you don't win it?
On social media, every one of you lot that are not Arsenal fans, and I'm going to give a message out to the Arsenal fans. Yeah. I'm going to say, speak it, talk it, say it, do what you want to do.
This is why people hate
No
Arsenal.
one's got to break your. No one's going to break your chains. It's in your hands.
That's why people hate Arsenal. Abdi, have a good weekend, except for Sunday afternoon.
Nice one, mate. Take care.
Cheers, bud.
Hey, by the way, I forgot to ask you. Gokrez is looking better, isn't he?
He is, but I don't know how much.
Yo, Arsenal fans, man, this is why people don't like Arsenal fans. I swear down, hands down, this is why people hate Arsenal fans. You can't make this stuff up. Abdi just called and ranted and told the rest of the world that, Arsenal will win the quadruple. Arsenal win the Champions League, the League Cup, FA Cup, the Carling Cup, the Premier League. They'll win the lot. This is why people don't like Arsenal fans. This is why people don't want to see Arsenal fans win the league. Because of the fans, not because of the players. And I promise you, if Arsenal win anything, bro, we're not gonna, for the next 10 years, for the next decade, that's all we're going to be listening to. That's all we're going to be seeing on our screens or, our socials. I'll probably take a break of socials if Arsenal win anything. Wow.
I don't know, because Spurs are so bad. I don't know how. There was something. Somewhere in between is the truth. Arsenal were excellent. Spurs were terrible. Somewhere's in the truth. In the middle is the truth, right?
Well, I agree with you at some point because is it Polinia?
Yes. No, he's not a centre half, is he?
My goodness.
Dragosan Polinia and Van.
He was.
Yeah.
He
didn't think like centre half, mate.
No, he's getting dragged out of position. He's getting nutmegged. When he scored, Gogres, did you watch him on his heels?
Yeah, no, he's not centre half though.
Arsenal against Chelsea, Sunday afternoon live with us. We'll be bringing you updates throughout the afternoon with Game Day Live. Mood music changes on Arsenal every single week, Scott, doesn't it? 1 minute they're brilliant, next minute they're not. They did a brilliant job of beating Tottenham at Tottenham 4-1, but everybody beats Tottenham at Tottenham. So what did you learn from that particular game that gives you confidence that Arsenal could go on and win the league?
That they have the mentality. I think that's the biggest issue from here on in now. We know they've got strength in depth. We know they've got quality players. We know that technically they're as good as anyone in the Premier League. They have the best squad in the Premier League. Now, what goes on between the ears? And for me, the way they bounced back after that United game where they beat Leeds convincingly at Ellen Road, and then coming back after that, look, okay, it's a poor Spurs side, but I was listening to you as I was taking the dogs for a walk, and you were saying this is one of the best atmospheres you've ever been involved in. You know, it was incredible. So to deal with that, to go into the Lions' Den, to dominate the game in the way that they did, and let's face it, the stats will show that they absolutely did dominate it. The eye test will also tell you as well. From a mentality point of view, they are worthy champions. The problem is, so are Manchester City.
Yeah, and Manchester City have got the form over the last part of the season. Now, a lot of people will say, well, it's a different Manchester City this year. They've got loads of changes to personnel. But even last year, when they'd had the rebuild, they went unbeaten in the last 10 games of the league season. It's just the way that he preps the side at the beginning of the campaign to get them to hit peak form towards the end of each season. So there will be a threat. The good news for Arsenal is if you look at their running, there's not much there to trouble them apart from the game against Chelsea that we're going to on Sunday and the match with Manchester City. So 3 points here is essential, right?
Yeah, and I think they'll get it. I know you've been talking to Alan Brazil and Ray Parler about the fact that Chelsea haven't beaten Arsenal anywhere in any competition for 4 years. Arsenal's record in London derbies is sensational. I think they've lost one of the last 26. At home, they're pretty much imperious. And I can just see a scenario, maybe it's a lazy narrative because they've just had Fofana sent off, their 8th red card of the season, where Chelsea do something stupid in this game on Sunday. Their emotions get the better of them and Arsenal go on and win it. And yeah, I think it will be another step closer to the title.
Is that a bit of wishful thinking as well? Because Chelsea are big rivals with Manchester United for a top 5 place?
Well, it's a massive weekend for United. We'll come on to Crystal Palace. I think United will beat Palace. And what I saw last night, I don't think Chelsea beat Arsenal. So therefore, this could be a pivotal weekend, not just in terms of the title, but the race for a Champions League place as well.
It will be unlikely for Chelsea to do something silly again. They haven't got the form for getting players sent off on a regular basis, Scott, or giving away stupid goals when they've got in front. How did Chelsea negotiate a trip to the Emirates? Because Crook's right, their record against Mikel Arteta's team, absolutely abysmal. And Arsenal have lost just 3 of their 43 matches this season.
Yeah, I can see tactics being quite similar to how Liam deployed it in the second leg of the Carabao Cup final just a few weeks ago, just trying to make it very, very difficult to beat. Like, I was at the home game and Moises Caicedo got sent off. And yet that was a brilliant performance. It really was with 10 men.
We were buzzing after that, Scott, weren't we?
Yeah, that was after the Barcelona win as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so new manager, but same problem of losing points and winning positions, same problem of discipline, same problem being at home. Obviously, this one's not at home, of just not seeing out wins. Yeah, I think maybe, again, 6-8 weeks ago, then Chelsea would have a chance of getting a point here. But I think not only are Arsenal buoyed by what they did against Spurs, but Chelsea looked vulnerable. And I was at Stamford Bridge at the Burnley game, and it was just a really poor performance all round. So unfortunately, I can't see Chelsea getting anything out of this game.
Really poor performance because they looked like they believed that they were going to beat Burnley no matter what. Yeah. That was the impression that I got from watching that game back on Saturday night. And I think there is a difference between Chelsea that play Wolves, Chelsea that play Leeds, Chelsea that play Burnley, and Chelsea that play Liverpool, Barcelona, and Arsenal. Actually, if you look at the record under Liam Rossigny, they've only lost to Arsenal. They haven't lost to anybody else since he's taken charge, and they do pick up some sizable wins, sometimes against some of the best teams in the league. So they do seem to raise their game for those big matches, and they're going to need to, because their next few weeks is absolutely horrendous. They have got the worst running out of everybody. And actually, the Opta supercomputer predicts they'll finish in 6th position this year, which, bearing in mind, they've just lost the GDP of a small European nation, means that they'll finish outside the Champions League places, which would be hell for them.
Yeah, I think it will, and it'll go back to, was it the right decision to part company with Enzo Maresca? Is there a flaw in the recruitment model? So I think this is a big few weeks for Chelsea, particularly having lost that League Cup semi-final, obviously still in the FA Cup, but they've got a tricky tie there as well, away from home against a Wrexham side who are banging form in the Championship.
Scott, your mate Victor Gyökeres banged in a couple of goals last week against Tottenham Hotspur. How will he do against Chelsea? And who should be the supply line, Eze or Odegaard?
So anybody who's Portuguese or comes from Portugal is now my mate. Is that what we're saying? Yeah.
Pretty much, mate. To be honest with you.
Fair enough. I mean, it was a great performance, wasn't it? And you might turn around and he might look back at it in terms of, it's taken its time in terms of a really good all-round performance, not just scoring goals. But what a game to do it in, just like Eze as well. And he's done it in both of them. Look, if I had everyone fit, I'd have Havertz up front and I'd have Odegaard playing. Eze I thought was superb, really good. And both of those players were, a lot of the Arsenal players were. But in terms of doing it on a consistent basis, for me, I'd go with Odegaard over Eze. I love Eze as a player. I loved him at QPR. I've always, been sort of backing him and saying he's a quality player and he should be playing for England, certainly in the squad. But he's a player of moments, whereas Martin Odegaard, not only with the ball does he help control the game, but he's much more tactically aware how to press as well. So in terms of that, I'd go with Odegaard. And look, Kai Havertz is injured and you've got to play Gyökeres. He can't do any more than what he's done. Just let him go now and see what happens.
The other thing about Eze is that he often shines in those games where he's given room to play, and Tottenham certainly gave him room to play last week, which was a massive issue for them. As for Chelsea, back-to-back draws against promoted sides. You mentioned there, actually, whether or not the question will be asked at the end of the season if Chelsea don't make Champions League. Was it the right decision to part with Enzo Maresca? Has Liam Rossigny's reputation been damaged by those two draws? Or do you actually think, hold on a second, the guy's only lost 2 games and they were both to Arsenal. Maybe we should cut him a little bit of slack.
Yeah, I think it's more of a flaw of the recruitment. They're making basic errors, silly red cards in Fofana's case that you expect from a club and a squad that are devoid of any leaders. And it's something that you guys have spoken about regularly, that naivety, which I think ultimately is going to prove their undoing. But they've got a rookie manager as well in terms of the Premier League. So not only the players learning on the job, so is Liam Rossigny. And this is not a Keith Andrews Brentford situation. At Brentford, you've got a forgiving fan base. You can afford to make the occasional mistake. At Chelsea, everything Liam Rossigny does is going to be analysed to the 10th degree.
Okay, let's ask the question about the recruitment, because I was with Simon Jordan this week and we had a little chat off air and he was saying, what Chelsea are doing long term is going to be fine. And I said, the problem is they're not going to win the league the way they are. They're never going to win the league, right? Because they've got no senior players. The difference between what's happened at Brighton, where they've sort of copied the whole model, they've almost sort of looked at Brighton, copy and pasted, but left out the bit where they bring senior pros alongside them. Where's the Milner, Welbeck and Lallana figure, the Lewis Dunk figure that
Pascal
helps
Gross.
them along? Pascal Gross, yeah. So where's that? And Simon said, well, who would you sign then? And I said, well, I don't know who you would sign off the top of my head, but you need to have senior players. And he said, you can't just say that, you have to have examples. Now, actually, thinking about it sort of since then, there is a bit of a dearth in the Premier League of players between the ages of 25 and 30 who you would go and pinch right now and put in the Chelsea team. So is there a lack of players, which is the reason behind Chelsea not having the senior pros, or is it still a failure of the recruitment that they haven't got those characters?
Well, I wish you'd have told me we were going to mention that, because I would have come up with a few names, I'm sure. But no, I mean, the bottom line is you can see for the last 3 or 4 years, since after the first window or first 2 windows, they've gone purely youth. And that's it. There's enough data and analysis, and we don't have the data in front of us that they will have to say that this guy is still doing.
Would you have gone down the route of signing someone like Christian Norgard, for example, who went from Brentford to Arsenal, or someone at I don't know, another successful club in the Premier League, someone like maybe at Crystal Palace, who did well last year, who could be parachuted into that back line? And Mark Gay might have been a good.
Well, I was going to say they should have certainly been part of that conversation, and they never were. And actually, they were at pains to distance themselves from that conversation.
So midfield was never the problem. That's not the problem for Chelsea. And I said in last summer, if you remember, goalkeeper, centre half, centre forward. Now I understand the Liam Delap £30 million is a bit of a no-brainer, but he's still very unproven, and we're seeing that. I'd still take Nicholas Jackson for all his faults over Liam Delap, and that tells us really where we are. These are the key positions. These are the key positions of a football team, apart from left back, of course. The goalkeeper, the spine of the team, the centre half, and the centre forward. And unfortunately, as well as Joao Pedro's done, and he has done, if you've got a top class striker and you've got a defender, Mike Maignan, for example, what happened there with that deal where they actually made the offer and then they kind of backtracked and said, no, we're not going to go and we don't need him anymore. So I just feel, in terms of just around the training pitch, around the training ground, that's again where those standards are set from the senior pros. And but it's not just me, you know, I've spoken to John Terry about it. He came on a golf day and he was said exactly the same thing. So give me a little bit of time, give me a little bit of data and that analysis, and I'll be able to come out with some names.
Okay, John Terry also a little bit upset, I think, that he wasn't in the conversation when Chelsea needed an interim manager for a couple of games, and he's been working with the under-21s at the club. And everybody from that group moved up and worked with the first team, and he didn't, and he was a little bit upset.
That is a bit of a snub.
In a new interview with the Football Boardroom podcast, Gareth Southgate has said that his motivation for club management is not high and admits that he is a complicated choice for potential bosses. So, is Gareth Southgate ready for a Premier League return? And who is he aiming a thinly veiled dig at, if that's exactly what it was? Because he did say there were a few that he had noticed that had done recent jobs in the Premier League, and he might have done a little bit better, or he certainly backed himself to do a little bit better. Here he is.
I'm gonna try and bring you guys the Europa League tour as well now. I think that's just been completed here. It's still ongoing. Forest did really well, by the way. Fenerbahce smashed their old stadium, the away stands. Okay, that draw will be coming up later, I think. Is it? Oh, yeah, that's done. But yeah, Arsenal, they've got a good one there. You know, fair play to Arsenal. If they don't win it, Arteta's got a goal. If they don't get to at least to the, you know, oh my days, Arsenal, they've got such an easy route. I can't remember the last time I've seen a team with a route like this to the Champions League final or you know, to the finals. It's mad. But you never know. But you can see Arsenal doing so much in this Champions League now. You can see them going through. By the way, what's happening with Pogba?
from a narrow first leg deficit to advance. Teams were already securely into the last 16 thanks to their league phase performances. 8 more had to battle their way through the playoffs, which culminated this week with a series of nail-biting ties. Among the highlights, Panathinaikos were taken all the way to penalties before emerging victorious against Viktoria Pilsen, while there were comebacks for Lille, who turned their tie around with an impressive 2-0 away win at Crvena Zvezda, and also for Ferencvaros, who recovered from a narrow first-leg deficit to advance past Ludogorets. Elsewhere, Genk were pushed all the way, but eventually recovered to battle their way through in extra time against Dinamo. So the next step for all of the successful teams in the playoffs is to find out which side of the bracket they'll be on, with just 3 more ties separating them from a place in the final on the of May. So how about we take a closer look at the 16 remaining contenders.
We can still get all English teams next season, 5 of them in the Champions League. That is very possible, very much possible.
So that is the exciting lineup we've got for you. Some great action there. More to come very soon. Before we get started, it's time to invite on stage the man presiding over today's draw, and that is, of course, UEFA Deputy General Secretary Giorgio Marchetti. Welcome, Giorgio.
Thanks, Bodo. Good afternoon to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. So the journey so far in the UEFA Europa League has been nothing short of thrilling, with every team fighting bravely to keep their dreams of glory alive. Over the last couple of weeks, we have lived almost every possible emotion, from the heartbreak of shootout defeat to the elation of comeback victories and the relief of surviving a dangerous scare, which are the exact characteristics that make any competition special. Now, 16 contenders remain from across 10 different national associations, a wonderful mix of established forces and ambitious newcomers, all united in their desire to reach the final and lift one of European football's most iconic trophies. Good luck to everybody involved. The finish line is in sight, but you know, there is still a long way to go, and as we know very well in this competition, nothing is impossible. To help us with today's draw is a former Portugal international who knows what it takes to go all the way in European competitions. Let's see who it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Manish. Welcome. Bem-vindo.
Bem-vindo.
Great Portuguese from Georgia as well. Talking about Portuguese, we've got two Portuguese teams in the draw today. One of them, obviously, you played for, Futebol Clube do Porto. I wanted to ask you about how it was lifting that heavy trophy, right, in 2003. How important was that for you and the club?
Winner UEFA Cup 2003 was very important for me. It was a pleasure. The title for Futebol Clube do Porto. I think it was, I remember, because it was a strong winning mentality.
Yeah.
It was the star. It was the star of something great. It creates a strong winning mentality. So it's a pleasure.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously you won the UEFA Cup that season, the Champions League the season after that, right? So that group of players was very special, with a very special manager as well. Of course, Porto qualified directly to this knockout round. What are their chances to go all the way to the final, maybe win the competition, and maybe who are the big rivals?
Porto always wants to win. If you will, too easy, because there are strong teams. But I believe Porto reach win to final in Istanbul.
Yeah?
Maybe.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see. All of the teams here are thinking the same, Manish. We're nearly ready to commence the draw, but before we do, let me remind you that the round of 16 match calendar will be available later tonight. Please also note that in accordance with the principles set by the UEFA Club Competitions Committee for Stadium and City Clashes, Braga's home match in the round of 16 will be played on Wednesday, the 18th of March, kickoff at 16:30 Central European Time. The schedule for the quarterfinals and semifinals will in principle be communicated on the 20th of March after the completion, of course, of the round of 16. Now, to see how all the teams will be drawn in the remaining rounds, we have a short video explaining the technical procedure.
The fixtures for the round of 16 and onwards are determined using a seeded bracket system that already started at the knockout phase playoff round. In the round of 16 draw, the teams finishing the league phase in positions 1 to 8 who qualified directly to this round will be drawn into the bracket against the winners of the knockout phase playoff matches. The draw will be conducted in accordance with the following principles. The teams directly qualified to the round of 16 are seeded and are paired according to their league phase rankings. So the teams in positions 1 and 2 are paired, teams in positions 3 and 4, and so on. The teams from each pairing are then drawn into one of the two pre-assigned positions in the bracket, one on the silver side, one on the orange side, against the relevant winner of the corresponding knockout phase playoff match. In principle, the seeded clubs play the return leg matches at home. To determine the matches, 4 bowls are prepared for the draw, with the balls containing the names of each pair of the seeded teams placed in the corresponding marked bowls. Starting with the pairing of teams from positions 7 and 8 of the league phase, 1 ball is drawn to reveal the team. This first team drawn is allocated to the reserved spot on the silver side of the bracket. The other ball is then drawn and then allocated in the corresponding reserve spot on the orange side. The same procedure is carried out with the remaining teams to complete the pairings for the round of 16. From the quarter-finals through to the final, the ties as well as the order of the matches is determined also by the bracket. Therefore, having been positioned in the bracket by the draw of the knockout phase playoff and round of 16, the teams qualifying from the round of 16 follow the path of the bracket until the final, and, as in the previous rounds for the quarter-finals and semi-finals, the teams indicated, i.e. those in the bottom row of each match pairing, will play the second leg of the relevant tie at home. The finalist on the silver side of the bracket is designated as the nominal home team for the final. After the draw, if it becomes apparent that any ties are affected by city or stadium clashes, these clashes will be resolved in accordance with the principles set by the Club Competitions Committee for city and stadium clashes. The round of 16 match schedule will be available tonight.
Perfect. The video has provided you all the information you need to follow these draws, and as you can see, we are ready with the bowls containing the pairs of seeded teams in front of me. I remind you that for each pair, the first team drawn will occupy the relevant position on the silver side of the bracket, the left, and the second team drawn will join the opponent, which is waiting on the orange side. Now, before we begin, just a final reminder of the clubs which are going to be drawn. We start with the pair of the best two teams of the league phase, which were Olympique Lyonnais and Aston Villa, followed by positions 3 and 4, Midtjylland and Real Betis. Then we have the Portuguese pair of Porto and Braga, followed by Freiburg and Roma. And that's exactly with Freiburg and Roma in position 7 and 8. They will ask now Manish to kick off the draw. Please shuffle the two balls and we can begin the draw. Let's see which goes to the silver.
Freiburg.
That's SC Freiburg going to meet Henk on the silver side. Never Freiburg and Henk crossed paths in the past, and now we can go also with the second team of this pair. So after Freiburg, we know what's expecting us and all the fans.
Roma.
That's of course Roma, and Roma means playing Bologna, and Bologna-Roma is an Italian derby which happens for the first time in European competition. So Bologna and Roma will play together in the next round of 16. We ready? We can proceed. You please shuffle the balls containing the teams ranked 5 and 6. This time it's a Portuguese pair with Porto and Braga waiting which side of the bracket they will have to go. The first going silver.
Braga.
And the first one is Braga, which is going silver, and in silver they will find Ferencváros. So the finalists of 2011 will take on the Hungarian side of Ferencváros. Please draw also the second ball.
Porto.
Which is, of course, FC Porto, and as you said, Manish, that the Porto will go all the way to the final. They will have to try themselves with Stuttgart. In the round of 16, we will have a taste, an immediate taste of the chances of Porto. Now, we have done 50% of our pairings. We can continue with the positions 3 and 4. Here, please, Midtjylland and Real Betis to be drawn against Panathinaikos or Nottingham Forest.
Betis.
And the first one is Real Betis, the UEFA Conference League finalists of last year. This time they will play Panathinaikos. Never Panathinaikos and Betis played in a European competition before this round.
Midtjylland.
And of course, Midtjylland will face Nottingham Forest. They played already this season, so it's not the first time for Nottingham Forest and Midtjylland. So only 2 teams left to be drawn, and here we are now going to see where the 2 top seeds of the league phase are going to play. It's Lyon and Aston Villa for Celta and Lille.
Olympique Lyon.
So Olympique Lyonnais will avoid a French tie because they will have to face Celta de Vigo in their next round. Also between Lyon and Celta de Vigo there have never been matches, so we see how many new opportunities we are creating with this knockout phase. And to finish,
Aston Villa.
Aston Villa will join Lille in what is now the last pairing of the round of 16. This concludes today's draw, and now that the bracket is complete and each team's potential points are known, we can follow the path of everyone all the way to the final. In each of the following rounds, as you know, the bottom team of the pairing will play the second leg at home. This is the rule. Pedro, we can sum it up.
Yeah, let's sum it up. And fantastic lineup we've got of matches for the next round. Let's have a look at them. Ferencváros taking on Braga. It's Panathinaikos versus Real Betis. Genk taking on Freiburg. And Celta facing Olympique Lyonnais. On the other side of the brackets, we've got Stuttgart taking on Futebol Clube do Porto. Nottingham Forest playing Midtjylland. Bologna clashing with Roma in an all-Italian tie. And Lille taking on Aston Villa. As Giorgio mentioned, the full UEFA Europa League bracket is now complete, so we can have a look all the way to the final for all teams remaining as they aim to reach Istanbul. Before we sign off, it's time to mark your calendars, of course. The first legs in the round of 16 will take place on the 12th of March, with the returns a week later on the 19th. That'll do it from us here at the House of European Football. Pleasure to have Manish here. Giorgio, well done as well, of course, as always. That'll do it. See you again very soon.